Welcome to Mr. Vamos Dissects. This is the Africa Cup of Nations rendition or episode to say. Well, just like I gave you guys something, just like a teaser, where we're going to look into the Africa Cup of Nations for you. We're going to go group by group. I'm going to give you the people that I really think are going to come out of those groups on top. Of course, just like I said, the Africa Cup of Nations boasts of very many players from Europe. So when the players come from Europe and they come back to Africa, they of course want to show what they've been playing in Europe. So that's just something that they normally want to prove to everyone, that it's not about the European football that we do, but we need to come back home and show what we can exhibit. Well, just like I said, I'll give you guys my top 4 favorites for the Africa Cup of Nations. Of course, I can't write off Senegal. I cannot write off Egypt, the main men in the Africa Cup of Nations. And then this time around, I'll probably give you guys a Nigeria. And then aside from that, I'll never write off Morocco. You can't tell me that a team that went into the World Cup and left out in the semi-final is not a team to fear. So those are my 4 favorites to win this one. You never know, we might see Senegal taking it again, taking it back to back. Well, that's not easy in the African context, but let's just wait and see how that goes. Well, in Group A definitely has Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast are the hosts of the Africa Cup of Nations 2024. Well, if I was looking into player chemistry, Ivory Coast decided to go with a Sebastian Halle that has not been performing for Dortmund, and he's their main striker for this tournament. Well, he hasn't really been playing on African soil. He hasn't been called for very many tournaments, but he's going to be their guy looking for the goals. But I think aside from Ori, I think they have very many players that can actually help them pull in a few strings. Important to note, Wilfred Zaha wasn't called for the Africa Cup of Nations, and then the Arsenal protege, I keep forgetting his name. Nicolas Pepe was actually called for Ivory Coast. So if it were up to me in Group A, they take on. In Group A, there's also a Nigeria inside there. And just like I said, I like Nigeria because it has Victor Osimhen. He's probably the hottest African property in Europe. So my winners from Group A will definitely be Ivory Coast and Nigeria. Nigeria, just because Osimhen is inside there, and he's probably going to do a lot of magic inside there. Group B is actually going to be a pretty interesting group as well. Group B has Egypt and Ghana. So most definitely, those are people I'm going to pick out for you to be the winners of that group. Egypt has the king of Africa, Mo Salah. Well, they also have a Mohamed El Neni inside there, who actually plays a lot of football when it comes to the African setting. And then important to note, you guys should keep your eyes on their goalkeeper, Mohamed El Chenawi. He actually plays his trade in Al Ahly. He's actually a very good shot stopper inside there, and their defensive line is usually a block to get past. So I'm really looking into Egypt creating this as their platform for them to play. And then Ghana, well, of course, they call the Ayew brothers. I don't know if it's a political thing or something, but the Ayew brothers definitely have to feature in the Afcon. And then their striker for the tournament is going to be Iñaki Williams. Well, Iñaki Williams is quite wasteful on the chances and all that, but, well, I think he will be enough for them to get out of the group. So keep your eyes focused on that one. I think that Ghana team I really fancy Jordan Ayew because of the 2 Ayew brothers. He's actually technical and he knows how to play with the ball. So I probably think he will help them get out. And then important to note, Mohamed Kudus. I don't know how I'd even forget a person like that one. Player with a lot of character, player with a lot of flair. So those are people that will help you get Ghana out of the group. Well, in Group C, we have the champions, the Teranga Lions, coached by Aliou Cisse. Of course, at the back of winning the Afcon the last time, well, of course, they come into the competition as favorites. And then, of course, they have the king of Saudi Arabia, Sadio Mane, is also inside there, fresh from getting married, fresh from commissioning a stadium in Senegal. Well, I think he's coming into the Afcon. He's one of those players whose confidence must be high. And then when you come into Cameroon, Cameroon has Vincent Aboubakar, one of the hottest strikers in Europe. He's actually not been having a good time in Besiktas. Well, the team has not been playing well, but he's actually a guy that's going to bring in the goals for you. So it's going to be a pretty interesting game between the two, but I expect them to get out of the group. Well, in Group D, we have an Algeria, we have a Burkina Faso. Those are my 2 people that are going to jump out of the group because I'll never write off a team that has a Riyad Mahrez. I think after Dimitar Berbatov, I would probably put him inside there about people who have a very intricate touch on the ball, very delicate pass and touch on the ball. So Algeria takes it for me in Group D. And then Burkina Faso, well, I think they'll also not be bad. They have a Bertrand Traore inside there. And I think they will organize themselves and get in some points. I think very many of you remember Burkina Faso because of their Aristada Bans, the guy who had low-key the cornrows. So they'll definitely come out of that group. Group E, we have a Tunisia, we have a Mali. Well, I'd just like to implore you guys, never sleep on these North African teams. These North African teams can actually give you a run for your money. Well, Tunisia, I don't know if veteran Wabi Kazri will be leading the team, but most definitely they have to get out of that group. And then Mali is captained by Yves Bissouma. Bissouma is actually one of the best CDMs in the Premier League at the moment, and I think he's going to bring a lot of European flair into this Mali team, and is probably going to put in a stake inside there. I'd expect them to jump out of that group comfortably. And then Group F has World Cup semi-finalists Morocco, and then I'd also expect Zambia to come out of there. Well, when it comes to Morocco, I'm going to get for you Yusuf El Nassiri. Never sleep on Yusuf El Nassiri. He's very deadly in the air. He actually has very good ball positioning. They have a Hakim Ziyech. Well, I think the Morocco team is actually properly aligned. They have an Unahi, shot number 8. Very many of you famously remember him in the World Cup as he was pulling very many strings for them. So those are some of the teams that you guys should keep your eyes on. Important to note that probably, if I'm getting into people that are going to give you guys a run for your money in this Afcon, I think you guys need to keep your eyes on Yusuf El Nassiri. You definitely need to keep your eyes on all those strikers. But just like I said, well, this is Africa. Well, like, I don't think if it were up to people that are trying to get in a few stakes here and there about how are the games going to pan out in terms of results and all that, well, African sides don't really score very many goals. So don't get shocked if the goals are going to be going below 3.5. We don't expect very many goals in the Afcon. So Mr. Vamos will keep you guys posted on how the things are going. But, well, enjoy the Africa Cup of Nations, because we're African and we have to definitely show that the blood keeps boiling. Mr. Vamos checking out.